All right, so AI and robots, huh? Seems like that's all anyone's talking about these days.
Yeah, it's really kind of blown up recently.
Well, on today's deep dive, we're going to look at what Elon Musk and Bill Gates have to say about how all this might change, work and just regular life.
Right.
We're using, a recent YouTube video with Elon Musk plus some other commentary from Bill Gates.
Exactly.
We'll try to cut through the hype and really get to the core of what they're saying, what it means for all of us.
That's the goal.
Okay, so first up, Elon Musk and his vision for we call it the near future.
Yeah, the near future.
He seems to think that our robotics and AI, they're going to be everywhere within the next decade. Almost like a utility, he said, okay? Especially self-driving cars and humanoid AI.
So like robots that look like people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Walking around doing stuff.
Right. And one thing he said that I thought was really interesting was this idea of an iPhone moment, but for humanoids. Remember how quickly everyone went from not having smartphones to, needing them for everything?
Oh, yeah, totally.
He thinks they'll plan out then with humanoid robots.
Wow, that's a pretty big shift.
Yeah, it's a big shift, and he doesn't think it's that far off. He's actually saying that AI and robotics are already having a huge impact, across every industry. In fact, I think he mentioned there was a McKinsey study that predicted that automation could replace 30% of jobs by 2030.
30%? Wow.
Yeah, and that's only at 7 years from now?
That is pretty soon when you think about it that way.
Yeah, and he's not just talking about AI in general.
No.
He actually talked quite a bit about Tesla.
Tesla, yeah.
And how they're developing a humanoid robot that can be mass-produced.
Oh, so their cars?
Exactly. He actually thinks these robots can be just as common as Teslas on the road.
Huh. I never really thought of it that way.
Yeah, pretty wild, right? And he's also a big believer in self-driving cars, the autonomous Tesla. So you put those two together, and it starts to look like, all this repetitive work, all this physical labor that people do, it could be done by robots. And that would free up humans to do, other things.
Yeah, makes sense.
Now, there is also some really interesting stuff about what other companies are doing.
Okay.
They talked about NVIDIA, the chip company.
Yeah, NVIDIA. I know them.
They have this open source humanoid robot project. It's actually pretty fascinating. They're using, they call it real-time simulation to train it.
Real-time simulation, so that might...
And this super realistic video game, kind of.
Right. Where the robot can practice and learn.
Exactly. And the robot being nicknamed Blue.
Blue?
Yeah. It can actually get feedback in real time, and it can simulate both rigid and flexible movements.
So it's not just clunky, like those old robots we used to see.
Yeah, much more advanced.
How are they powering this thing?
Two NVIDIA computers.
Wow, that's a lot of processing power.
Yeah, it is. You can imagine this robot can learn really, really quickly, much faster than if it were just trying things out in the real world.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And speaking of open source,
okay,
you're also open sourcing their Groot N1 robot platform.
Oh, so other people can use it and build on it.
Exactly. So that just speeds up innovation for everyone.
Right, collaboration.
It's really cool, and they're moving really fast.
How fast are we talking?
From the initial idea to a working robot, they did it in 31 months.
31 months. That's less than 3 years.
Yeah, and they're creating new hardware platforms every 12 to 18 months.
Wow.
They even had a robot walking in under a year.
That is fast.
So that's why, when Musk says he thinks humanoid robots will be in our homes soon,
okay,
it doesn't sound so crazy anymore. But he's thinking we'll be able to do all sorts of tasks for, long hours, and we'll be able to just tell them what to do with voice commands.
Hey, robot, go do the dishes.
Exactly.
Hey.
And get this, he compared the cost of leasing a car.
Okay.
Which is, around $300 a month.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
He thinks these robots could be leased for a similar price.
Wow, that's a game changer.
Right. If you could have a robot doing all your chores for $10 a day, would you do it?
I mean, probably, yeah.
He even thinks people might have multiple robots, to handle different tasks around the house.
So one for cleaning, one for cooking, one for...
Yeah, exactly.
It's wild.
He give examples unloading the dishwasher.
Okay, I can see that.
Picking up toys, stuff that every parent has to do.
Right, the never-ending chores.
Right, and he had this really interesting point.
Okay.
He said that home appliances,
Like washing machines and stuff.
Yeah, they hadn't really changed in like 50 to 70 years.
That's true. They're pretty much the same as they've always been.
But these robots, they're programmable. You can tell them what to do, when to do it.
So you could schedule them to do laundry at night.
Exactly, or preheat the oven.
Right.
He thinks it could be a revolution for how we manage our homes.
Yeah, I can see that.
And he ended by saying pretty definitively that this whole wave of AI and robotics, it's not just coming, it's accelerating. And he thinks, because of that, jobs are going to vanish.
Jobs are going to vanish. Okay, so that's something to think about.
Yeah.
So that's Elon Musk's take. Now what about Bill Gates?
Right, Bill Gates, he definitely sees the robot takeover happening too.
Okay.
But he's thinking, even jobs that we think of as highly skilled, like doctors and teachers, really. Yeah, he specifically mentioned, a great doctor, a great teacher. He thinks AI could make those things, like their advice, their skills, much more widely available. And maybe even free.
Free, wow.
Yeah, so imagine everyone having access to the best medical advice.
Right, or the best tutoring.
Exactly. He thinks it could solve a lot of problems, with access to healthcare, education.
Yeah, that would be huge, especially in places where those things are limited now.
Right. And it really makes you think about, what happens to the future of work.
Yeah, if everyone has access to the best of the best,
He even wondered if we might see shorter work weeks.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, but he's not naive. He's definitely optimistic about AI's potential. But he's also kind of uncertain about whether we can really control it.
Right, like it's moving so fast.
Yeah, he said it feels scary to a lot of people and that we're in completely new territory.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way. It's like, where is this all going?
Exactly. And he even asked, will humans even be needed for most things in the future?
Oh, that's a big question.
Yeah, it really makes you think about our purpose, in a world where machines can do so much.
Right, like what will we do with all our time?
Right, but he also said he thinks there will be things that we reserve for ourselves. Like, hosting talk shows, playing baseball, stuff like that.
So things that are uniquely human.
Yeah, things that we value as experiences, not just tasks.
That's an interesting distinction.
And when it comes to, the basics of the economy, he pretty much agreed with Musk that making things, moving things, growing food, that's all going to be solved by AI and robots eventually.
So those jobs would be gone too.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's almost like we're moving towards a world where we don't have to work.
In a way, yeah.
Wow.
And he also talked about the importance of humanoid robots. He called them the ultimate deployment vector for AGI.
AGI, what's that?
Artificial general intelligence. So really smart AI that can learn and do all sorts of things.
Oh, okay. So human level intelligence, but in a machine.
Exactly. And he's saying that, to really have an impact on the world, that AI needs a body.
A body, like a robot?
Yeah, a robot body. So, you take Musk and Gates together, and they both seem to agree that AI and robotics are going to be huge, and that a lot of jobs are going to disappear because of them.
That's a common thread, for sure.
But they do have slightly different focuses, I guess.
Okay, how so?
I feel like Musk is really into the engineering and a timeline.
How fast can we get these robots out there?
Exactly. Gates is more about the big picture, what does this mean for society? What are the ethical questions?
The human side of it.
Right. But the one thing that they both emphasize, and I think this is really important for everyone to hear, Golf, is just how fast this is all happening.
It's not like a slow, gradual change.
No, it's like a revolution. Our whole world could be completely different in just a few years.
So, to sum it all up, we've got Elon Musk, who's saying AI and robots are going to be everywhere, taking over jobs, and maybe even living in our homes.
Right. And Bill Gates, who's agreeing about the job displacement, but also thinking about the bigger picture, like access to healthcare and education and what it means for humanity as a whole.
And they both seem to think this is happening much faster than most people realize.
Yeah, and it's not just about factory jobs or truck drivers. It's white-collar jobs, too. Even things like doctors and teachers.
So that's the potential future, according to these two tech giants.
Yeah, pretty mind-blowing stuff.
It really is, and it makes you think, what does this mean for me?
Exactly. What skills do we need to be learning now to prepare for this future?
Right. Or what are the most exciting and the most concerning parts of this for each of us personally?
It's a lot to think about.
Yeah. But that's what we do here on The Deep Dive. We try to help you make sense of it all.
So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for listening. And keep thinking about the future. because it's coming whether we're ready or not.
If sure is. All right, that's it for today. See you next time.